we're on our 4th round. We're coming up to our 4th round in November. For 5 Sundays, we just go different places. We've gone to UU churches, which is United Churches of Christ. We've gone to Universal Unitarian churches like Neshoba. We've been to Presbyterian churches like Shady Grove. Mm-hmm. We've been to Baptist churches. What's the, where was it? First Baptist Broad, we went over to that one. Abyssinia with Earl Fisher, everybody knows him. Mm-hmm. Mississippi Boulevard, we've been a lot of different places. To Episcopal churches, we went to St. Mary's. You know, what has been interesting is we look for places that don't do harm to the people that are traveling with us. Yeah. It's not always easy. And I've only had maybe 2 surprises. But where I thought we were in safe spaces, and you know, it's a little surprise when I got there with some of the wording from the head down, but you know, but it gave us something to talk about and something to process and something to work out, and it gave us something not to cast judgment about, but to say, now what can we do differently in our lives, you know, that would invite what wasn't an invitation in what we heard.
You said 2 things that caught my attention.
Only 2, isn't that a sad
thing?
Really all I see.
I wrote a lot down now. The leaders serving. People forget, if you are a leader, you still have to serve the people.
That's right. And that's what we stress.
Yeah.
That the Micah 6 and 8 principle.
Yeah.
You know, what does the Lord require of us? Mm-hmm. And boil it down. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly. You know, not walk in front of, but walk humbly with God, with other people. So we are intentional about saying, what can I do to serve?
Absolutely. And the other one, changing the community relationship changes the world. Mm-hmm. So now you said you have to live inwardly in order to change the world. How can we change the world if we're messed up on the inside?
That's right.
Michael Jackson said it best, man in the mirror.
Right. And you know, messed up is one way of putting it.
Confused.
But let me just say this. If we have not come to a point where we fully understand that we belong to God.
Enlightenment.
We cannot be, I mean, it's fine. You want to change every word I said? That's not a problem. Go on, Skeeter. But what we fully understand that God's fingerprints, God's hand, God's voice is on us and in us and coming up out of us.
That's good.
And we call that belovedness. We believe that every child of God is beloved.
Absolutely.
And that every human creature is a child of God.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the issue. When I think people forget that, and then they invoke, you know, their humanness,
right.
And then they invoke their experience, and that what comes out in display of their attitude and how they react or not react to certain people. Mm-hmm. And when you pose that question to someone, it will probably make them take a step back, because they should recognize that they're not acting in the fashion that I'm speaking of someone in the clergy or someone in the pulpit, that they're not acting in that fashion. And then you have to be careful, because people take things to heart, and that your words that at that moment could have a long-lasting impact on what I believe. And then I carry that away, then I carry out something that you've embedded in me. And you know, and it happens all the time before, you know, the church hurt. You know, at our place, we have a lot of people with a lot of church hurt. So that's what we're doing a lot, trying to go inward and help them come out of that and understand that you are God, and God is us. And you're a reflection of God every day, all day. That's and no matter what anybody said, you're okay.
That's right.
And now God is putting people from the beloved community in our presence. We have a 14-year-old boy now that we are mentoring at the church. That's the youngest thus far, who is going through his enlightenment period, identifying with himself, being the same, doing the love and all the above. And the family is showing him a way and treating him in a different manner. And we are showing him this agape love. No pray, P-R-E-Y love, but the real love. And he's kind of pushing away because he's never received that type of love. Never had a man who genuinely, you don't want to give him a hug, who love him without trying to freak him out. So it's a hard task right now, because I've never dealt with a 14-year-old
Well, remember when you were 14?
I know, and I didn't have anybody. I couldn't open up.
Right.
Like we're trying to get him to, just be honest. He don't have to put a rainbow on his back, but you can feel comfortable that you can cry on my shoulder, and I don't want to do anything to harm you. I want to love you and make sure you're okay. I don't want you to hurt yourself. I don't want you to prostitute, get on drugs. I don't want you to do anything that this system out here has created for you. So that beloved community.
Well, it's just a matter of affirming who he is.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't even fully understand who he is yet.
Right.
Exactly.
But it's just a matter of affirming who he is.
Right.
I had a best friend, a beloved friend from the age of 14. Well, I was 16, she was 14. And she was youth pastor at one of my former churches. And a young man who was serving as an usher, had gotten baptized, was, he walked a little light, as we call it. And that particular Sunday for his baptism, he had a whole new wardrobe. And he was walking with his big block gaiters. And there he was coming outside of the church, and he had his gaiters in his hand. And he said, "Don't hate. Don't hate." And her response was something was just so ugly. Stop acting like and she used the term sissy and sissified and punk. And what I said to her was, on the day he realized God loves him, why are you making him hate himself?
Isn't that something? That's good.
On the day of his baptism, why would you throw that in his life? Yep. And so, like with the 14-year-old that you're describing, it's not a matter of a sexual practice. At this point, it's not even sexual form. It's just an identity of who you are, how you could possibly live in the world. So he doesn't have to be covered in a rainbow flag, but he needs to know that there's space for him to explore who he is.
All right, hold that thought. We got to take a pause for the calls.
Pause for the calls.
It's 5:30.
Pause, Skeeter.
Hold right there. If you want to get in this conversation with Miss Jackson and my mother and myself, 901-260-5926. But this is the Unleashed Voice for the LGBTQ community. We'll be right back after this pause for the calls.
Are you clear?